I call the May 6, 2025 Colonial School Board meeting to order. Please rise as Mr. Peter Rudloff will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Peter. All right, moving on to additions or corrections. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda? All right, with no additions or corrections, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, motion moved by Dr. Dorsey, seconded by Mr. Handy. Are there any questions or comments from the board? No questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. So now is the time in the board meeting for our celebration of the E in the power of we. We'll begin with our student board member, Ms. Ladune Akinrolio, to provide us with her report. I'm not even going to ask her if I said it right.
So we kind of reverted on the last name, went from Akin to Ak, but it's okay.
One more month I got. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, sure. So on the academic side at Penn, we're in our last marking period, which I'm very happy about. AP exams have started, and they're running very smoothly, thanks to our amazing AP coordinator, Ms. Handy. I personally have AP exams to take both weeks, and to say that I'm dreading them would be an understatement. But I hope every student at Penn tries their best and has a good year. On the athletic side, spring sports are coming to an end. I know every team tried their hardest, no matter the record, and I hope every athlete enjoyed their season. As a tennis player, I think I did. Socially, lots of big things for seniors. We have prom, graduation, and the counselors are even throwing us a senior event on May 15th, which is really great. And I know last meeting, the meeting in March, everyone was pressuring me like, oh, where are you going? And then I gave very avoidant answers to where I'm going to college. But I'm very happy to say now that I'm going to Washington Lee University on a full ride, and I would really like to thank the board for giving me this position, because I think representing Penn and being on this board really helped me gaining the full ride. So I just want to thank you guys for selecting me. It's been an awesome time being in here. This is my last meeting as a Penn student, so it's been great.
Ladune, just to double check, you will be at next month's meeting though.
Oh, yeah, of course, but I won't be a Penn student, I don't think.
That is true. Thank you so much. All right, and now to continue our E in the power of we storytelling, I'm going to turn over the mic to Colonial Strategic Communications Officer, Mr. Gabe Phillips. Mr. Phillips, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President PQ. Mr. PQ, Dr. Jones, Colonial School Board. Tonight we have several recognitions, and I apologize for stumbling through this. I am filling in for tonight for Ms. Wilson. Before we get started, Ladune, just so you know, you're a Colonial student for the rest of your life. Once a Colonial, always a Colonial. So you get to, no matter what, whether you're graduated or still here, you're always a Colonial.
Amen.
All right, let's get started with our students. On Friday, January 31st, Colonial students participated in the 6th annual Newcastle County MITFA Challenge Project Soapbox Showcase, along with their peers from Appoquinimink, Red Clay, and Christina school districts. This year's event was held at the University of Delaware. Finalists were selected from each of our middle schools to showcase their civic engagement by presenting speeches that they have crafted in their social studies class around issues that matter to them. Project Soapbox calls on young people to research, develop, and deliver on an original speech of an issue of interest, including recommendations on how to act on that issue. Gunning Bedford student Blake Miller was recognized for their presentation and speech at the end of the program. Students from William Penn presented on their issues to action projects where they research the topic about a problem in their community and then take informed action by creating and implementing a plan for change. Throughout the day, students presented to an audience full of community members, elected officials, and school leaders who were energized and empowered by their passionate voices for our youth. These powerful speeches and projects have a lasting, transformative impact on the students, classrooms, schools, and communities. Colonial social studies teachers were so proud of their students' achievements and helping reinforce the importance of civic engagement. I'm going to read some of the names and the topics of the students that presented. If you hear your name, please come forward. We're going to get a group picture with the board. And forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. Nevaeh Crawford, Brianna Diaz-Jardin, and Denise Pavon Garcia for non-renewable resources. Denasia Hepburn and Bernaya Merritt on gang violence. Cassandra Hunter and Sophie Val for domestic violence. Aziz James on Healthy Delaware. Madison McLean on including women's voices in the legislative process. Emily Perry on implementing a gender-inclusive policy in Colonial. Janelle Toney on child neglect. Journey Roy on sexual assault. Stevie Wright for suicide prevention. Audrey Haslam on human trafficking. Kimani Higgins on racism in America. Kayla Latran on drug addiction. Lizmel Nunez on human rights. Ariane Dixon on the legacy of football. Yariel Fraticelli Diaz on helping the schools in need. Chloe Seward on teen drug addiction. Ronaldo Medina on the dangers of soda. Sabrina Dubois on discrimination. Praise Ayanre on sports and school. Blake Miller on social media. Peter Rudloff on wrestling. Keaton Carter on police brutality. Hannah Abdulrahman, and forgive me, these don't have categories with them. Miriam Zig, Delaney Castillo Rodriguez, Priscilla Domo, Zariah Cannon, Shannon Wongus on artificial intelligence, Tahai Forbes on recess, and Maya Wright.
I need everybody to stand a lot closer than that.
You look so happy still. Don't be scared to scoot in, guys.
Yeah, can we get taller people and then shorter people kind of shuffled like bowling pins? Can we get taller people and shorter people like bowling pins?
There we go.
Looks good.
Oh, we got a couple more pairs. Good. Guys,
If you guys would come over here, see Dr. Baker to get your certificate, and then redraw your parents' congratulations. Next up, we have our staff. Starting first, Dr. Nicholas Baker, our supervisor of curriculum, assessment, and instruction, has been honored with the 2025 Excellence in Education Award by the University of Delaware College of Education and Human Development. This prestigious award is presented to an alumnus who has demonstrated and sustained a meaningful impact in the field of education. Dr. Baker was recognized for his innovative teaching and leadership, strong dedication to student and family engagement, and his creative collaboration with community organizations that directly support our students. Dr. Baker, if you come up.
Head over in the middle.
got it.
Rob,
Oh, Rob, what?
Rob, do yours next.
Tilt the thing a little, the light shine up. Cool.
Congrats, Dr. Baker. Next up, we have Rachel Narcho. Ms. Narcho is a 7th grade social studies teacher at George Reed Middle School, and she is being recognized by the University of Delaware with a 2025 Outstanding Clinical Educator Award. This recognition is given to a dedicated clinical educator who hosts student teachers. Rachel is recognized for hosting multiple student teachers and providing them with strong guidance. Ms. Narcho, if you'd come forward.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You tilt the thing forward a little bit. A little more.
Where is Dada?
Thank you.
Right
Oh,
there.
that's me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Our last recognition could not join us tonight, but we're going to recognize Mrs. Warman anyway. Ryan Warman is a 4th grade teacher at Pleasantville Elementary. This past weekend, Miss Warman was recognized by the Middle States Council of Social Studies as the 2025 recipient of the Colin Skinner Elementary Social Studies Award. This award is given to an elementary teacher in the Mid-Atlantic region who emphasizes social studies instruction in the classroom. Ryan was celebrated for her strong commitment to professional learning and civic engagement and the powerful opportunities she provides her students. Congratulations, Ryan. And those are our recognitions for this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phillips. You did a fine job. All right, and let's see. So now's the time in the board meeting for board members and the executive secretary to discuss items of information and topics from our participation in various professional organizations. Specific updates and documents are listed in the agenda. Are there any concerns, questions, or points of interest that board members would like to discuss? I would like to go over in order from what we have already listed. For DSBA, for the Delaware School Boards Association, we can start with Mr. Carlson, because I know it's been very active this month.
Do I need to?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I need that. Okay, there were, the legislative committee voted on several proposed legislations that affect school boards. And the first one is an act to amend Title 14 of the Delaware Code relating to school board meetings. The act requires that school meetings have a means for the public to view and provide comment remotely. We oppose that unanimously. The next one is an act to amend Title 14 of the Delaware Code relating to training for school board members. The act requires that members of school boards, including charter schools, receive training as follows. We oppose that because we already provide training and we don't need the state to dictate exactly what we're training. The next one, to amend Title 14, Title 29 of the Delaware Code relating to the recording of meetings in public bodies. The act also correspond changes to existing laws, requires school district boards, members of charter schools, the State Board of Education, and the full Board of Trustees of public institution, higher learning, to have a digital copy of recordings of the meetings. We oppose that unanimously. Act to amend Title 14 of the Delaware Code relating to school boards. The act that a school board candidate and member must inhabit the district or designate a portion of the district that the member represents. We supported that unanimously. The next act is the act requires school boards to allow members to attend school board meetings by remote method under certain circumstances relating to health and military deployment. We supported that unanimously. And the last one is under current law, both school board members who are elected and those who are appointed to fill vacancies until the next election are required to complete a criminal background check, and we supported that unanimously. That concludes the 6 bills related to school boards.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. All right. Okay. Oh, you can't skip Mr. Handy, he's got his.
We meet tomorrow, so I won't have nothing to do.
Oh, my God. That was- Go ahead, Chris.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
So I am the board representative for the William Penn Counselors Committee, which is made up of course, the counselors at William Penn, a board member, a parent, a student, and staff from central office. So I just wanted to do a quick report. This was the second meeting of the year. The first one in September or October was the report was the goal setting for the counselors. And then this meeting was the follow-up as to how they did with their goal. The counselors had chosen to tackle student attendance. They set a very aggressive goal to decrease absences and tardiness. While they did not achieve their goal, the preliminary data appears that attendance didn't get any worse. And I know that doesn't sound, great, but the reason I wanted to talk a little bit about this was because I was very impressed by the number of and the innovation that the counselors showed in trying some new things to work with kids who have chronic absentee issues. And some of the activities range from individual counseling, group counseling, some other new initiatives. And late in the year, the group got turned on to some resources from a national organization. And the counselors reported that in looking at those resources and suggested activities, that looked like a pretty rich area for them to delve into. And so they are looking forward to showing more improvement next year with perhaps a bigger toolbox. So that's my report.
That's awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Go ahead, Nikki. You got Chief School Officers Association?
Yes, I'm going to report out on behalf of Dr. Menzer. The Chiefs met on May 1st. The Chiefs met with Delaware Secretary of Education Cindy Martin and discussed a variety of topics, from the recent work of the Public Education Funding Commission to current legislative bills and DOE initiatives. Delaware Academy of School Leadership provided professional development regarding how to foster positive school culture and climate.
Thank you. Do we have anything else from the board? All good? All right, so moving right on. The next step is public comment. Do we have anything for public comment right now, Gabe?
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right. I'll take a second. I will just say, wanted to announce, I was at the Entrepreneur Day here at William Penn this morning, and I was truly amazed to see how well it was ran, and the panel we have is just getting better and better. The Q&A session was incredible. It was great from the students, and seeing students that have been there multiple years and how they're improving on it. It's an amazing thing to see here at William Penn. We are not a trade school, but we definitely have a lot to offer, is what I can say. And we are pound for pound being able to help our students prepare themselves into the workforce and their next steps after the high school. And I'm very excited to see what a lot of these young students, what will happen to them in the future after seeing them working this morning. So congratulations to all the students that had great businesses that they created, and then also to the teachers who helped organize it. Thank you for that. So at this time, now the public comment is passed, we don't have anything. We're going to actually just pause the meeting to allow families, students, and staff to celebrate their recognition that they had here. We understand that families, students, and staff may have other commitments and may need to leave. However, for others in attendance, we'll resume momentarily the regularly scheduled meeting shortly after the following brief pause. hardcore school board enthusiasts. So moving on, the next agenda item is the consent agenda. The items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board review, including documentation concerning these items have been provided to all board members and the public in advance. Items in the consent agenda generally include routine personnel and business office actions and updates, as well as approval of previous meeting minutes and education-related items such as choice and student placements. With that being said, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve all consent agenda items as presented.
Oh, sorry, should ask if we hear a second.
Second.
All right, I'm giving the tie to Mr. Handy. As moved by Mrs. Smith, seconded by Mr. Handy. Are there any questions or comments from the board? All right, with no questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify with saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. All right, next up on the agenda is updates and action items. Dr. Jones?
All right, Dr. Nicholas Baker, Supervisor of Curriculum Assessment and Instruction, will discuss Colonial's approach to economics education and financial literacy within the Social Studies Department. Dr. Baker.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Good evening, President PQ, Vice President Smith, Dr. Jones, members of our school board, and Colonial community. We are honored this evening to celebrate our students who have demonstrated their achievements by engaging in the civic process. So tonight, I'm pleased to showcase how we support citizenship, but through developing economic and financial literacy. I'm joined tonight by 3 incredible educators and 2 outstanding students who will be working with us tonight. First, Ms. Kelly Shusko, K-12 Social Studies Instructional Coach. Ms. Rachel Narcho, who you just met recently, grade 7 Social Studies teacher at George Reed Middle School. Ms. Jessica Sawyer, William Penn Economics teacher. And students from William Penn High School, Basida Rose and Christiana Shomide, who will be working with us tonight and assisting our board members in a simulation focusing on a lesson that we teach in high school courses. So do you all remember your high school economics class? Or maybe one that you took in a college lecture hall with 300 other individuals? Chances are it was a dry subject that did not necessarily spark excitement or relevance. Gone are those days. We are learning economics in an engaging, interactive, and real-world way for our students to encounter and be prepared. Tonight we'll showcase how our social studies teachers help our students become economically literate. When students learn about supply and demand, or quotas or taxes, they're not just memorizing terms. They are learning how to think critically about real-world issues. By building their economic literacy, we help our students grow into informed and engaged citizens who can understand public policy and participate meaningfully in our democracy. Our students learn how to become thoughtful, strategic decision makers, and that's where financial literacy comes in. It is decision-making on the individual level. It's about applying those same critical thinking skills and to everyday life situations. Managing money, setting career goals, making informed financial choices, what to buy for lunch that day. This can lead to long-term health and well-being. Just like math and English language arts, economic reasoning is a fundamental skill for individual prosperity and societal well-being. So we are now going to talk about what we do in elementary school, where it starts with our youngest colonials. And Ms. Kelly Shusko is going to highlight a few of those key pieces for you. And I'm going to be distributing some sample books that we use to teach the students these economic principles. Kelly?
So our Delaware students begin economics education at a very young age. It's important to start this early because just like with civic engagement, these are important skills that create lifelong habits and need to be taught in an interactive and engaging way for our youngest colonials. For example, in Colonial, we implement a program called Economics for Kids, and that's kindergarten to 2nd grade. These materials have been designed by the Center for Economic Education at the University of Delaware, and some of them even were piloted in our own Colonial classrooms. These accessible, culturally responsive, high-quality lessons provide dynamic, standard-based resources for both teachers and students. They serve as a foundation for economics instruction that will continue through middle and high school. Students engage with picture books to explore key economic topics such as economic choices, trade, economic systems, and the foundations of how money and other mediums facilitate the exchange of resources, goods, and services. Students will also engage in financial literacy through understanding why do skills matter, how does setting goals and create a plan path to achieving those goals, how does planning for spending help you make informed choices, how does saving help you achieve goals, and how can planning for potential and unexpected risks reduce your chances for personal loss or harm. So those are all our K-5 elementary personal finance standards that they focus on.
And all of these books have been screened by my own children. And I bring up these concepts whenever they want to.
I'd like to give this one to all the budget managers and
Yes, the
Colonial.
no money, no problem.
Some adults
that's
could
right.
use some of these lessons in books too.
Distribute this one for all of our budget managers.
That is required reading in Colonial. So now we're going to talk a little bit about where those foundational skills go when they go to middle school. So you see that we start at a very early age introducing these concepts, and these students understand these needs and ideas really coming in, into pre-K, kindergarten. So Rachel's going to talk to you a little bit about where this goes in middle school, as well as we set up for high school.
Thank you. In 7th grade, our social studies curriculum dedicates the first half of the year to civics, followed by a comprehensive exploration of economics in the second half. We follow this sequence so that students have an understanding of the political system to better understand the economic connections in the second half of the year. 7th grade becomes an important foundation for our high school program. We begin with an overview of different economic systems around the world. From there, we delve into macroeconomics, examining key indicators like GDP, inflation, and unemployment, alongside the influence of fiscal policy, the Federal Reserve, and the federal budget. This includes crucial discussions on topics like redlining and gender wage gaps. When we study microeconomics, students learn about graphing, supply and demand, and market equilibrium. The year concludes with simulations on international trade and personal finance, which provides practical hands-on lessons in budgeting, banking, career planning, and investing. This well-rounded approach ensures students develop both a theoretical understanding of economics and practical skills for navigating the financial world, fostering critical thinking and responsible citizenship.
So after the exposure in middle school, what ends up happening is they head up to high school, where they really dive deeper into these topics, and Jessica's going to describe that. Colonial has had a standalone course in economics and in personal finance for well over 20 years. So we have been one of the original districts that had this course, and we weave through the personal finance piece as well through that course. So Jessica, do you want to talk about your experience? And Jessica's going to lead us through an activity that we'll be doing with our students.
Okay, so building upon financial economics concepts that were introduced in middle school, William Penn's economics course dives deeper into these concepts as well as transitions into personal finance, equipping students with practical money management skills. It is important that we reach out to our local community when teaching these skills. For instance, we recently had John Bell from the Better Business Bureau of Delaware present on scams that are targeting our teen students, emphasizing employment scams and the risk associated with payment platforms like Venmo and Cash App, compared to the potential protections that credit cards might carry. The curriculum also covers crucial topics such as paying for college, career exploration, budgeting, managing checking accounts, understanding taxes, analyzing financial institutions, and exploring credit, investing, and insurance for long-term financial well-being. We are grateful to use curriculum materials and professional development from the Center of Economic Education and Entrepreneurship at the University of Delaware and the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. Through this support, teachers help their students apply problem-solving skills to financial decisions, evaluate payment options, understand the role of government and financial markets, manage the risk, and recognize how laws and regulations affect consumers. At William Penn, we are committed to preparing students to make informed, confident financial decisions that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. Today, we will have you take part in an activity that we teach in our taxes unit. As you can see, taped on the fishbowl and towards the back of the room, there are cards that have questions on them. Our students participated in this activity last week, but unfortunately Betsy and Christiana were doing their extracurricular sports, so they were not in class that day. So I have some clipboards and questions being passed around. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pair you up with a partner on the board and either a teacher or a student. So I'm gonna give you a letter and that's where you're gonna start. So for example, if I gave you the letter G, you're gonna find G, so G is right here. And this is asking a question that's giving you the annual salary, telling you how many times that person gets paid, and you have to figure out what their paycheck is gonna be. So you would use your paper, do the math, and then once you find the answer, let's say the answer was 3,000. You're gonna look around the room and find 3,000 in the answer box. The card that has your answer on it, that's gonna be the next question you answer. And you're gonna keep going until you finish. Any questions? Okay, so I'm gonna partner you up. Okay, so you guys, you'll be with Christiana. Then you guys will be with Bessida. You guys will be with Miss Narcho. Then you guys will be with Miss Shishka. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you which letter you're gonna start. Then once I give you your letter, you can start. You guys are gonna start at letter A, B, C, and letter D.
Yeah.
This is going to be Miss Falcon's favorite activity.
You're not gonna ask me to balance a checkbook, are you?
No. Okay, so this is our question. Okay. So how much did Brianna withhold in voluntary deductions this pay period? Right, you can come up a little bit closer. Okay. Be able to see her net pay? Yeah, and or this one, voluntary deduction. So like the ones that she is choosing not to apply. How do you know? It says net pay. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to look for that answer, the 2,206, and figure out where it is, and we'll get a box, like, and that's our next station to go to. 2,000, yep. So our next letter is G.
Now.
Yep. So then, yeah, you put.
So these two would be.
So then, to find the total, what are you gonna do?
What number are you looking for? 1,040. That might be over there.
It's tricking you a little bit.
I found it.
We're over here. Did the math perfectly, you just.
Fire me now.
What is Theodore's gross income so far this year? Year to date.
Yep. Right? Yes.
Gross, I can't do that. 1480.
Okay, so now we need to find it.
It's his first paycheck. Listen, Nikki, not everybody's, killing it like you,
So we have to find the one that not for,
Listen,
is there other cards over here?
No, crap was little.
Oh, he's broke.
But then I remember, so
Is that 1450 or
1480. That's little.
Look at me, I'm like,
I can't see any of it.
And then we find that as an
net
answer, and we
pay.
go to the next one. Okay.
Net pay
Oh, okay.
for the period
Go that way.
is
There you go.
2,200.
So then we're gonna look for where this answer. Oh, I think all the way down.
490. It's all the way.
Is it all the way down?
Keep going.
Nope, it's not there.
No.
We're still going. Nope, over here. No, I found it. Green paper.
Oh, okay.
Over here.
It's over here. It's over here. Okay. Okay, so if you come here, so just make sure you're sitting on the top corner. Sit here, and then just make
This
sure.
was a job. We accepted $8,000. We ain't been writing down nothing.
I was just doing this math. Was I supposed to be writing something down?
And there's two numbers.
The answer is 200.
That is paid twice a
That's
month.
what I meant.
How much was she?
Nikki, keep
expecting
doing
for
that.
her gross pay? That's what I'm doing.
I love it, I appreciate it.
I'm assuming she works at 12.
Oh, no, that's okay. I didn't tell you that. I didn't skip that.
Gross pay?
So where do we go? 419. And then since she was paid twice.
Oh, twice.
But like,
Mason, salary started, that is paid twice, that's $3,000. Glasses on, glasses off, $3,000. That was, what letter was that? Was that G? Okay.
Going back. Just let her do the math.
you were there, you were close, and if you were doing like process of elimination, they would like.
Right here.
Oh, there we go. Alright, Imani's salary is $100,000. She went over 23% of taxes, 15% for retirement, and 5% for what is her approximate take home? So what would be separate?
How about we add all the things they take? 43, okay, 43%. And then you gotta figure out.
Because that would be the total deductions, right? Right. Okay, and then let's. Okay, so that's your deduction. There we go. There we go.
Okay, let's do it differently now. Let's add, add .23.
Take home.
There you go.
$20 an hour. That's Judith.
Let us try.
And he works 8 hours,
And then 1 minus 23.
he takes home 65% of his gross pay.
Okay, and then 2,376 minus 0.575. This got rolled behind now.
Yeah. A lot of people. I saw. That's how we came here. I lost at some point.
All right, even if you're not done, I'm gonna have you head back to your seats.
We're not done.
Thank you for participating.
That's the answer.
I haven't had somebody this proud of me in a while. I'm so happy for it. Great job, you're great at math. And I was like, yeah, I am.
Good job, Nicholas.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Now, if you would like the answer key, Ms. Sawyer's available at the end. Be able to help you there, or just talk to Ms. Falcon. So, hopefully you got a little glimpse of really how, I started by recollecting to our early economics classes that we might have taken at the high school or in college. And, personally, I never had an economics class until college. And, really, it's amazing how this state has put so much emphasis on it, but how critical it is. And I learned the hard way in college when I see those stands at the university. Here, sign up for a credit card and get a free t-shirt. Well, that was attractive to me at the time. And so little did I know what came with that. And it's really important that we equip our students, really starting at a young age, with those skills and those habits that they need. And that, you know, sometimes they don't make the same mistakes some of us made and have had to learn the hard way about. So economic literacy is vital. And so any of us would be happy to take any questions that you might have about anything.
Start going down the line, Mr. Cross, or Mr. Cross?
What do you teach them about long-term, short-term investing?
Long-term, short-term investing. Do you want to talk about that, Jessica?
So we just kind of touch on that. I don't want to do the whole deep dive into the stock market because just, you know, too much for them. But we do emphasize the importance of saving early. So I emphasize to them as soon as you start your first job, start a 401k if they offer it, Roth IRA. And we talk about the different forms of investing, the less risky forms, and then building up to the most risky forms of investing.
And that's actually one of the points embedded in the personal finance standards for high school. So the resources that we use out of the Federal Reserve help us cover that.
Mr. Handy?
Yes. What about the different types of insurance and how they can benefit them in the long run?
Great question. Jessica?
So for insurance, we definitely cover car insurance because we teach it to sophomores, so they're about to start driving. We teach them the importance of auto insurance, and then renter's insurance, which is soon to be relevant to them as they're graduating, moving out, and homeowners insurance as well.
What about life insurance?
Yes, life insurance. We do cover that in the taxes unit as a deduction, and then we go more in depth when we're talking about insurance.
What also helps is a lot of these topics, so a lot of the students take our business courses here where they'll dive into this as well. And we also have a senior math course as well. So some of the students are noticing sometimes a cross section of when they're learning this material as well and applying it.
Well, my comment is that I think it's just terrific that you're doing this, because I managed to graduate from high school not knowing how to balance a checkbook, not knowing how to manage any of my personal finances. But I have a question. I just did, the other day, I sat down and looked at every bill that is in the current legislature regarding schools. I feel like there was something in there about financial literacy.
There was.
So I'm not crazy.
No, it had to do with the fact that they were mandating it. There was a half-year credit, which meant the schools, districts had to come up with another half to match it. And they said, we already teach financial literacy in our district, and we have a course for that.
All right, so there was legislation requiring a half-year financial literacy credit.
Right.
Is it still pending, or was it, so it's still pending?
It was up last year, and it's up now.
Okay.
They ended up doing a study across all of the districts this year just to see how financial literacy was addressed. And then literally the report was just revealed to the legislature. So it's in the queue basically, and so they're using the findings, figuring out how to approach it and possibly make any adjustments to the legislation.
Well, I'm just going to give my opinion, but it certainly seems like you're already doing a pretty good job comprehensively of covering what it is they're looking for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope so too.
Those districts said were already doing it.
Yes, thank you.
They wanted to do it themselves, have local control.
Well, and believe it or not, there's actually a good amount of districts that do not have something in place.
Really?
And so, quite a bit. So again, we were one of the pioneers for it, in all honesty. My predecessor started it when the state really enacted the initial legislation in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And some districts just do not have those courses or opportunities.
All right, so there's the context.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think there's a single thing that you had mentioned that when answering those questions that I was taught coming out of high school, and I'm not that far away, I don't believe, from that. For my arts class.
As opposed to me, is it?
You see, I tried to say that in the most gentle way possible, and I still got burned. But no, it's just, I'm very proud that that's what we're offering, is what I really want to say, because, I mean, I graduated from Votex, the school, and
One of the objections that, the reason they wanted the legislation was that But the courses in finance like here are offered, but it's not required. So
Right.
they want to require that you have it.
Right, and so with us embedding it right now in the economics course, every 10th grader takes that course in Colonial,
Oh,
for
they do?
example. Yes,
Okay.
in this district. And that's where we'll have to see where the legislation might adjust with that, you know, around placement, but this district's always invested in that.
Yeah, somehow it was a half year, which didn't
Yes.
seem to work with, schedules.
Right, right.
The follow-up, and I'm sorry, guys, but obviously, we're gonna go back to high school level, like, things where I can't think of a good question for you guys. But on that, there is ever-changing as far as what almost feels, not scams, but taking advantage of people with a lot of loans, and especially with technology, you can get your paycheck quicker, all that types of things. There's certain things you just can't even write into a curriculum because things happen so fast in this day and age. Is there time where you just have open discussions and warn them about different things they may actually see that are available to them that they shouldn't try to take advantage of?
Yeah, this is when we use the Better Business Bureau of Delaware, and we have John Bell come in, and he's been coming the past 3 years, and he comes up with new scams. Like every time he comes, he always tells stories about people that reach out to him for scams, and even after his presentation, the kids will come up to me and say, I got this text, it's a scam. So anytime I get something, I try to say like, hey, I just got this scam. Like I've gotten 3 texts about my Easy Pass, and I know I pay on time, but yeah. So just kind of keeping up with the Better Business Bureau and sharing things that I've seen as well.
Yeah, y'all teach them that Cash App is not
That's
a
my
bank
question.
Yes, we are teaching that if you pay your bills through Cash App, that's have no effect on your credit. Yes.
Dr. James, do you have anything? Dr. Dorsey?
I first want to say, I applaud you for what you're doing because financial literacy is critical. I can share with you just growing up where in a household, I only knew what my parents knew. And I love my parents to death, but I realized they didn't know anything. And they couldn't teach me anything about financial literacy. And I knew just, and in saying that, it was just repeated poverty in my house without actually learning this information. So I applaud you for what you're doing because it's definitely much needed, and I'm really pushing hard with legislation and talking to a lot of people on making this mandatory. And sometimes I question, do they really want to make it mandatory? Because then everybody's going to start doing well, and this is the world that we live in.
That's right.
They don't want everybody to do well, but that's just me speaking, not speaking on behalf of the board. Just so everybody knows, disclaimer. So is the K-8 curriculum like embedded throughout the curriculum throughout the year, or is it just a certain time of the year or in certain units?
It fits in certain units. So typically we look at the different economic concepts that are coming, that are addressed in social studies or in math or in business. So in the middle school, for example, they take a JDG class where they're using it's a site in Wilmington, I can't remember it off. Thank you, Journey Achievement. And so the students take that as part of that elective as the curriculum for that in the middle school currently. And so we really look to see where we can see that insertion for those lessons at this point. There's always, sometimes the issue of time, but that's where we're trying thoughtfully to figure out how we can integrate it and incorporate it so that it's meaningful. They need to learn the economics behind it and see the applied aspects, especially with the financial literacy.
And with the and once the student gets to high school, it's mandatory in 7th grade, you sure, right?
Yes, and then they may take electives in business. So right now, our 10th grade course, it's a full year economics. They spend half the year roughly taking the personal finance topics within the economics concept. So we mesh the course together as to one experience, so that they're getting that full year. They also take students can take the senior math that deals with finance math as well right now, and then various business electives cover the material as well. So there's multiple touch points that they're able to get for this, but definitely everybody's coming through 10th grade with them.
I believe the more that we educate our students on financial literacy, the best position we place them to be successful in life.
Yes.
Because that they actually you need greatly. And I think there's a lot that they can go back home and teach other people that are in the same situation.
Completely. I had a similar experience as you've were describing, your upbringing with that, it was the same in my house with it as well, and wholeheartedly can relate to that.
Thank you. Ludine, you have a question?
No, but I will say that, like, I think my class was the first class to get the Better Business Bureau thing, and I remember it being really fun, and we still remember it till, like, this day. Like, John, whatever his name was, coming in, like, the activities, and I think it really helps with, like, identifying scams and everything, so that was a lot of fun. It really is impactful to students from, like, a student perspective, and I did like econ, and, like, the financial literacy part was always everyone's favorite part. Like, no one really liked the first one, but the second half of the year was always the best part, so, yeah. I think that our AP program is really good.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Phillips actually has a question.
Mr. Phillips.
How do you guys, how does the curriculum address, for lack of a better term, digital currencies such as Bitcoin, things like that?
Jessica?
That is a great question, and our kids love to ask that. So I am not as well versed in that as I would like to be. So kind of touch on it, kind of not. That's definitely something that we want to try to implement more in the future as it's becoming more relevant.
Just like we've had prior presentations around artificial intelligence, just in the field of this, it's just increasing exponentially, and trying to keep up with it is critical. But that is really where we have a great partnership with UD and the Center for Econ Ed that really help keep the teachers informed and at the forefront of a lot of this so that the students can have this.
Dr. Baker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next, the Division of Health and Wellness and Talent Development will co-facilitate a conversation with the board entitled We Care.
Good evening, board members and guests. My name is John Cooper, and I'm going to be co-facilitating a presentation tonight with my colleague, Dr. Sherry Woodall and Dr. Jennifer Alexander. Thank you. And there's actually a tie to the presentation that Dr. Baker just gave, and I think you'll see it later in the presentation. We recognize that today, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We see lots of you wearing green. We really appreciate that. Of course, we're committed to supporting our students' safe mental health all year long, but we called that specifically this month. We recognize that part of mental health, part of the whole person is physical health as well. So when we talk about the Division of Health and Wellness and the wellness plan that we're going to be referencing briefly, it encompasses the whole individual, not just what we typically consider mental health. What I have for you tonight, a little demonstration. I'm going to ask my colleague, Mr. Ed Stephan, to come up. Ed is in charge of our McKinney-Vento and foster care services for youth, and in order to do this, I'm going to ask for a volunteer, pre-selected, President Pickue, to come up and be our representative of a student.
They told to stretch first because we don't have workman's comp.
Yes.
I was voluntold.
Hopefully you don't have any lower back issues, but if you put this on, we recognize that all of us, including our students, carry around an invisible backpack. So what this represents is this idea of an invisible backpack. And in those backpack, we're conceptualizing there's a number of things that can weigh us down, each of us as adults and our students. I'm going to ask my colleague, Mr. Ed Stephan, to talk a little bit more about this in detail with the bricks that we have here. And then I'm going to be placing, as Ed, this is turning into like an endurance contest, not the intent, but as Ed talks about each of these, we'll place a brick in here and you can comment on what that experience is like. So, Mr. Stephan.
Thank you. As Dr. Cooper had shared, all of us carry this invisible backpack with us every day. The populations that I work with, typically day in, day out, their backpacks are going to have 1, 2, 3, or all 6 of these bricks in them. Not everyone has all these bricks in their bag every day, and that's where we see the different levels of need. First one we'll look at is housing instability. Currently in Colonial, we have over 300 students experiencing homelessness as of this morning. They're living in different areas, whether they're doubled up with family, friends, or other folks in the community, or living in one of the 13 hotels, including the Hope Center, that are in our feeder pattern. We also have students who are living in motels outside of our feeder pattern that come to us as well. So housing instability is a huge one. We also have another 70 students who were placed in foster care. Their housing might be stable now, but the trauma that caused them to be removed from their original housing is not gone from their lives, so that would be an additional brick for them in there. After that, you can put the motel in there since I touched on that. As I said, we have 12 traditional motel hotels in Colonial, and then the Hope Center, which was taken over by the county during COVID, within our feeder pattern. You can see students coming to school with this are experiencing a little bit more discomfort than others on the school bus or in the van. Transportation will be our next one as I hit on the van. Many of our students are displaced, ride on a private van service to and from school. Currently we have Mr. Wolf here I saw. There is one student or two students coming from Seaford every day and going home every evening to Seaford on a van service. So that's an hour and a half ride one way. And that's for different reasons why they're still with us and we're transporting them. Crime is one in our motels, specifically down the Route 9 corridor that we've experienced a lot of concerns with over the years. Not necessarily our students committing crime or doing anything, but not being able to go out, play after school, having to stay in their motel room and not having that time to socialize like other students that they're going to and from school with each and every day. So that adds another brick to their backpack. Let's go with food. Food insecurities run rampant in our state, country, and in our district. This is something that's not as called for. We're not asked for that as much because there are resources available. The issue is the healthiness of the food that's available to our families who are struggling. Because a lot of times they don't have the refrigerator, they don't have the means to cook, so they're getting prepackaged meals that are high in all sorts of things that are not good for us. So that's one more brick added to the backpack that he is unfortunately carrying now. And the last one being the health brick. And as I just touched on, students living in some of these motels, doubled up, not living in what many of us would consider standard living accommodations, impacts their health and well-being, and that goes from breathing in mold within the motels, animal droppings, and then mix that with some unhealthy eating habits, and those students are coming with a very weighted book bag, as you can see, to and from school. So that's what a lot of our students day in and day out are dealing with, just getting to and from school, not even dealing with the academics of the AP testing and things like that.
Thanks, Ed. Before we go on to the next thing, can you just comment briefly on what that feels like?
Not to be very honest, it was an emotional toll that was going through as you're adding it when you feel a physical pulling down of you with that, and it symbolized a lot. So I actually really thank you guys for using this, as an example with it, because holding it here as you're doing it was actually very emotional to considering everything that these students are actually going through. So it means a lot more than actually might not even seem. So thank you for that, including me.
Thank you, Chris. I'll add that when we were practicing this in my office, we actually had the same experience. As the board knows, several years ago, we did officially adopt a wellness policy, going back 2017, so I'm ready for the next slide. The wellness policy that we have in Colonial is based on this idea of the whole school, whole child, whole community model. And it's got all of these different components. And in future meetings, we're going to be revisiting this, talking about subcomponents of the wellness model, but we recognize that there's a community involvement, health education, all of these things are involved in supporting our students. And one of the things that is exemplified by the presentation this evening is that our division, Health and Wellness, essentially works with every single division in the district. And after the presentation is over, if you want to take a look, there's a handout in the packet that describes that. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to my colleague, Dr. Jennifer Alexander, to talk about one specific component of our wellness plan that has to do with employee wellness. Dr. Alexander.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper, and good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here to talk to you a little bit about employee wellness, and specifically related to our district wellness plan. And so I would say last May, we closed out Mental Health Awareness Month by inviting our employees to participate and complete a wellness and mental health survey. This survey was created in response to school leaders recognizing that many of their staff members were taking leaves of absence. They were not coming to work. And also understanding, wanting to learn about some of the challenges that staff were facing regarding their wellness and mental health. And so from the survey, a work group was created, and there was representation from our elementary, middle, and high. We actually have some of our work group members here this evening, Jennifer Goldsboro and Greg Napoleon. We also have our human resources lead specialist, who is part of our work group, along with Dr. Cooper and myself. And we were charged with digging into the survey data. And from that, the concept of employee wellness champions was born. And so what is a wellness champion? A wellness champion is an employee who is passionate about promoting wellness in the workplace. And wellness describes a lifestyle which is primarily supported through healthy eating habits, physical activity, and quality sleep. And all of these lead to positive health outcomes. And wellness is just one important element of the overall well-being that's important. And so we decided to use that framework to help us launch our employee wellness champions. So we are going to get you involved, test your knowledge here. So in front of you, you should all have a folder. And if you open up your folder, you will see, I believe it's on the right-hand side, you'll have statements. You will also notice on the other side of the room, we have the different elements of well-being listed. For example, we have purpose well-being, social well-being, financial well-being, physical well-being, and community well-being. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is take those statements out of your folder. You're going to read them, and then when I invite you to do so, you are going to place them under the element that you believe it most closely represents. And so I'm going to do the first one with you. This one says liking where you live. And so when I look at this and I think about my family, I think about my home, I think about liking where I live, it would fall under community. So I'm going to place this under the community element. So at this time, I invite all of you to grab your statements, and we're going to move over. I'm going to ask my colleagues, Jennifer and Greg, they're going to help you out, and you are going to place your statements under the well-being that it most closely associates with.
So we have to take break.
We have tape.
Oh, it's magic.
We have tape.
Me too. Me too.
Oh, yes, thank you. There we go. Yeah.
Sure. We can help you.
No, I have something.
All right, so each of them should have 3. So if we have 4 someplace, or we have one in the middle.
Keenan.
He's a maverick.
Oh, you wanted to split the baby too. Yeah.
So what about the engaging in activities that bring joy? Are you gonna make a call out? Are you gonna have discourse or?
All right, so let's check our work. So under purpose well-being, we have finding meaningful work, how you occupy your time, and it should be engaging in activities that bring you joy. So that's under purpose. Under social well-being, we have having loving relationships, having strong relationships, and a sense of belonging. Financial well-being, effectively managing your economic life to reduce stress, increase security, and making the most of your money from day to day. Physical well-being, yes, having good health, having enough energy to get things done, getting adequate sleep, and community well-being is liking where you live, feeling safe, and having pride in your community. So congratulations. You think about that and keep that in mind. We want to just send the message to the community that you're not alone. Please help us by reducing the stigma associated with mental health and wellness, by not being afraid to share your story, and definitely reaching out if you need help. And so with that, I'll just turn it over to see if there are any questions that the board may have at this time regarding employee wellness champions or Dr. Cooper's work.
Good on the board line. Emily, you have anything? Mr. Cross? Mr.
I
Haynes?
just make a comment. When we did that exercise up there as far as employees, it told me, I read a book, The Body Keeps Score, right? Doing it with the staff, doing it with the staff, how does it change their perception of what our students go through every day?
Would you, I didn't hear the beginning part, I'm sorry.
No, because I read the book, The Body Keeps Score, and I know that the staff went through this exercise right here, but how did it change the perspective of what our students deal with daily, saying that they had to go through this as an exercise?
Yes, so this particular exercise here, we didn't actually go through it with our staff. What we've done is we created our employee wellness champions using this framework as a model for what we want our champions to do and how we want to address and help support. But I think it's eye-opening. I will tell you, with some of the social emotional learning work in our district, we have definitely touched base on the elements of wellness. And so as staff begin to educate themselves more and they learn, they recognize that all of these components need to be addressed. They all work together in order to have a thriving well-being. If any of them, for the lack of a better word, is all for a deficit in that area, it's going to impact your ability to be productive and to do your work and to be healthy.
I mean, I understand, Rich, I understand, because what I do for the state during the day is, when we deal with we call them participants, we try to cover all of those areas, because we understand if you only take care of one area, you're not taking care of the whole person, so they can go back into a lifestyle that they're trying to escape.
Yes, thank you, most definitely. Any other questions, comments?
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent presentation. Really liked the invisible backpack. That's, kind of puts things in a different perspective.
For sure. And we all have one.
I have a question. You all are planning, having conversations with our colleagues across the district. What are you doing to refill your cup? You're giving it, you're giving. You got Schoology, you have the champions within each building. You're planning, you're meeting, what are you doing? And you don't have to answer that question, but I want you to reflect upon what you're doing to refill your cups as you continue to give and support.
Good point.
Thank you.
Dr. Dorsey?
Awesome presentation. With the implementation of the framework and wellness champions, have you seen an improvement in staff wellness throughout the district, or are you tracking that data to see how well it's working?
That's a great question. I will say this, we got started. That was step one. We have noticed, especially this month, I'm noticing more engagement on our Schoology page. We have been posting about mental health awareness, and honestly, we've had the most engagement thus far this month with just the different resources that we've put out there, even simple quotes that we put out daily. And so again, I look forward to ending the year with getting some feedback and on what we can do to improve upon this work group for next year. But I think most important was that we got the results from the survey last year, and it was a lot to look at the data. It almost brought us to tears looking at what our staff were actually saying and sharing their experiences, not only from their stress in their personal lives, but also the stress that they were feeling from work. And we just knew that we had to start somewhere and to do something. And so this is that first step.
Muldoon, do you have anything?
No questions, great presentation, it was awesome. Very insightful.
I think my favorite part, as I was watching the presentation, listening to it, this is the discussions from a public school system in how we're trying to care and understand our employees. Not just the children, which is what Dr. Cooper was presenting about, but this is also about our employees, our staff. And it truly shows when we're presenting this in a board meeting, that you don't have this from so many private companies, but yet you have this from a publicly funded school system here that also says no matter what, that we care. We love, we care. The power of we in this district is truly great. And I just want to thank you so much for showing this and showing it again, as Dr. Cooper said. It's May, so we're talking about it, but it's an everyday fight and active love that we give to everyone that they're here, and that's what we want to let them know, that we're looking out for them. So thank you for showing everyone this and to continue the effort for it. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Is this you? Yep. The next one, or is it me? We got updates and action items, right?
Alrighty. In June of 2020, the district established a process for recruiting and nominating a William Penn student to be the non-voting member of the Colonial School Board. Since July 2024, Ladune has sat in this role, attending the monthly public session, joining board conversations, and sharing insights and updates with the board from the student perspective. Ladune is graduating in June and will need to be replaced at the end of her time. So at this time, I present the William Penn Administration student recognition for the position of non-voting member of the Colonial School District Board for consideration.
Thank you very much. With that being said, do I hear a motion from the board?
I move that we approve the recommendation of non-voting student board member as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question and comment. I do know this student, and I know she's gonna do an amazing job, and I think she's gonna be really passionate about it. So I'm very glad that you guys picked her because she's gonna do great. Or this person, not she or he. You never know.
I love that so much. As soon as she did it, I was like, well, she's revealing a lot. Sorry, I should have said, who moved it again, for the record? Who did first motion? Who was it?
Robin.
All right. As moved by Robin and seconded by, was it Dr. Dorsey? Yeah. Seconded by Dr. Dorsey. Great comment, Ladoon, so thank you. I agree with you. And then, with that being said, all those in favor, please signify with saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. With unanimous decision, that motion carries. We still have Ladoon for one more month, though.
We
I
still
wanna make
have
that
her
very
for one
clear.
more month.
All right.
Opportunity Fund Waiver Posting Approval. This action is to remain in compliance with the provision of 14 DE Admin Code 1726. I ask at this time that the board, I ask the board to give the administration permission to post the 1726 Opportunity Fund Waiver for 2 consecutive weeks in the News Journal as presented.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve to give the administration permission to post 1726 Opportunity Fund Waiver for 2 consecutive weeks in the News Journal as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. All right. As moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Crossan, are there any questions or comments? All right, with no questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Next, we have the Colonial School District Student Code of Conduct revisions. The board was presented with revisions and edits to the Colonial School District Code of Conduct for their review and the first read. We will request consideration and action in June of 2025 at the board meeting.
All right. That's just second read, so no motion needs to be made on that.
No motion. Lastly, we improved safety and security. Based on the community's feedback in October 2024, Colonial Safety and Security Team agreed to publish the quarterly safety and security update. This month, we shared the second publication of this update. The next update will be shared August 2025 with the school board.
Again, second read, no motion needed on that one. All right. Anything else there, Dr. Nicker?
I'm good.
All right. Before I make a motion to adjourn, I want to take a moment. We've had quite a few celebrations over the past month, but I want to take a moment to appreciate each one individually. Since we've met last month, we celebrated Administrative Professional Day on April 23rd. I want to thank all the admins and all the offices for everything you guys do and deal with in the crazy, hectic life that is with the school district. Very much appreciated. We had Principal Appreciation Day, which was on May 1st. So obviously we thank everyone there as well. And then currently tomorrow we have School Nurse Appreciation Day, which is found here in the middle of Nurse Appreciation Week. So for all of our school nurses that deal with all the boo-boos, the tummy aches, the everything that you deal with, that comes to even more extremes there, and then getting to know these children and loving them. We appreciate you there. And also, I give a shout out to my wife, who's a nurse practitioner. I always want it on record that I appreciate you, honey. And then also a big appreciation. It is Teachers Appreciation Week here, May 5th to May 9th. And as always, you guys are the backbone of our entire school district and the building of our community. So we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for everything you do to be a part of the Power of the Week. With that being said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. And then do I have a second?
Second.
As moved by Dr. Dorsey, seconded by Mrs. Smith. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you and have a great week. Month.